Sir, you stand as an example of a Vidwan who has managed a very successful career as a professor of music and also as a full-time musician. And I think it's very important that people understand how did you balance both of these very challenging careers.
Well, I myself wonder sometime. Well, I think it's my determination, dedication and devotion, which I call 3 Ds.
Okay.
When I am teaching, I focus on the teaching and I leave all my accolades behind. When I walk into a classroom, I should really cater to the needs of the students. Whether it is a basic question, it's an advanced question, or whatever, intelligent question, whatever. And I really, prepare for each lecture. My wife used to wonder, you have been doing this for so many years, do you really have to go through the... No, I have to freshen up and read it with a fresh mind and see. And this is the thing, sometimes, like when the lectures go, so well, I will come home so happy, as if, I have performed so well in a concert. People, used to laugh at it, but to me, even the lecture is a performance.
Of course.
Same way, when I get on stage to perform, I cannot be saying, oh, I'm a senior most professor at York University. Oh, come on. What can you play? So that's what is important.
Right.
So I don't, I really know my role well, and at the same time I want to live up to it. To me, the integrity in both, academic world and the performance world are important.
Okay.
And not only that, probably the uniqueness about my teaching is this kind of concert experience in the outside world is what I bring into the classroom teaching.
Okay.
At the same time, whenever I lecture about music, and I don't fail to go through the studies of the history, the significance, and to really back up with what I have to play, what I have to say in many of my lectures.
Okay.
In a way, I think I should say these are like feeding each other, back and forth, and I have enjoyed that. And I think that kind of integrity that I'm maintaining in this has been keeping me going.
And that balance.
That balance is so important.
That's wonderful. And I think for all of the young musicians in Toronto in particular who are pursuing careers,
yes,
that kind of advice is very, very invaluable, I would say. To be able to do your schooling and also your music at the same time.
Yes, exactly. Because the tradition is so great, and again, as you have seen, however I may have diversified, but I'm very strong with the tradition.
Yes.
And that's again another subject, to talk about the fusion music and everything, and where I draw the strength from and so on.
Sure.
We can talk about that too.
Sure.
But regarding maintaining these 2 roles, I think it's absolutely important. And but of course they are not without challenges.
Of course.
I know how important it is to play during the December season, and these days, of course, the standards are very high, and of course, people are also expecting when a person of my stature goes, and they are really looking forward to what he's going to play this time, and what is that we can learn from his playing.
Right.
Again, I am also I'm always really thrilled to be there for the December season, accompanying different artists, and. It's wonderful that way. And so I think from the time I joined York University, I never failed to go back to our country to to maintain, the roots of my tradition, and that's very, very important.
It is,
Yes.
certainly. As you also brought it up just now, Sankaran said the contribution to the globalization of South Indian percussion music, and you've also composed many works in world music genres and collaborated with acclaimed musicians of international repute.
Yes.
Can you discuss some of these innovative compositions and collaborations, and do you have any interesting projects coming up that you want to give us a little primer of?
We'll see. Yeah, okay. That's, as you know, that's another world. Again, the one that I talked about earlier, having an open mind kind of made me listen to all kinds of music since 70s. And through my collaborations over the years with a number of musicians in all different genres, and I think, I have really, taken our music, Carnatic music, and particularly the Carnatic rhythms and the Mridangam playing, to heights under different contexts.
Okay.
And that's what has really made me very happy. And probably I have taken it, as a mission, because it's not enough for me just if our own people just listen to our music. That's one thing, of course, our audience are, they are great and they are very appreciative. But when you really take your music, to other people who are not familiar with the tradition, and then make them understand and enjoy and appreciate, and I think, that is priceless.
Of course.
And this way, I think I have been very influential, to bring our Carnatic music, taking the Carnatic music to different contexts, to the contemporary music, and particularly my collaborations with the world drums, I want to mention here. With the world drums, I have traveled far and wide. Starting from Expo 1986 in Vancouver, then Calgary Winter Olympics, and then a tour in Australia in 1988, and then all other major international festivals, including Hanover, Germany, and then Taipei Festival, and so on. And amazing, you wouldn't believe, the number of instruments that were featured, in this world drum concert. From the softest drum to the loudest drum. Amazing. And we would have had the sound check, earlier in the morning, probably sitting there for 2, 3, 4 hours even, and during the concert, and we had no problem. Every single note will be heard.
Wow.
And I have had amazing experience performing with the African drummers, with the Middle Eastern drummers, hand drumming, and on that note, I have played the kanjira with many musicians, with the hand drums and kanjira, and then in many concerts I play both instruments, mridangam and kanjira. And this way I was happy that I was contributing to our Carnatic tradition. People learned about Carnatic rhythms and they were awestruck after hearing, really amazing. And many of those concerts also included some jugalbandis between Mridangam and tabla.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so north and south.
Okay. So even within India, that
exactly.
Globalization.
The globalization, and so this way, I think the music has transcended the barriers,
that's right.
All the cultural barriers, and no matter, sometimes I may be even featured next to a folk drummer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a Sri Lankan folk drummer.
Okay.
Next, by my side.
Okay.
Or a Pakistani drummer.
Oh. So I think in the sense, another result of this is that we learn about other drumming systems in addition to them learning about us, our drumming system.
Exactly. This is what once I said at the Music Academy. I gave a lecture on rhythm from world music perspective.
Okay.
That's where I talked about, Turkish rhythms, the Greek rhythms, and then rhythms in jazz.
Okay.
And of course rhythm in classical music as well.
No.
So, but I think there were people who were listening to this for the first time. For the first time, and I told them, don't think Sankirtanam is exclusive to Carnatic tradition. Have you heard Sankirtanam in Turkish music? See, these are, the great things, eye-openers. Amazing.
Even the concept of a nade, I didn't know existed outside of, obviously we have the waltz beat and things like that, but Sankirtanam is a very, very difficult...
unique feature, and even we very rarely handle the Sankirtanam
in our own
music, in our own tradition. And it's, amazing, amazing.
Okay.
So that's where I say, please try to have an open mind. Then when I play gamelan music, I've been involved heavily with the gamelan music. I have written many compositions.
Oh, I see.
Like a Swaralaya, Lagu Mishra Mela, Mela Tambang. These are some of the titles.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about this is, this way I was able to project many of our Carnatic rhythms and melodic features.
Okay.
So this was kind of like new venues for me. Amazing. By the same token, I underwent studies. I learned their music.
Oh wow!
And one sabbatical, we went to Bali.
Oh really?
I wanted to study Balinese gamelan music.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And then Javanese gamelan, they're quite different.
That's so humble of you to go learn a new style of music at your level of seniority.
Teaching and learning never ends. I think it's a lifetime study. And then there are even in Mridangam there are so many things I have to learn.
If you would say that, then imagine how much we have to learn.
And then I remember at one time when someone was demonstrating a melody from Indonesian system. Immediately, one of the person in the audience was, oh, this is like our Mohanam, excepting one note is Abaswaram. So these are the things I think we should, stay away from, passing judgments.
That's right.
Without really, really understanding the idiom. We shouldn't say, and but we should really know their system and how it works. And such a beautiful system. Sure, you can try to, it may be comparable to some of our scales and things like that, but there is much more to it.
But it has its own unique identity.
Unique identity, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's a very interesting anecdote. And I want to conclude with a couple of more questions if you'll entertain them. The first is the interest in North America in Carnatic music, as you have seen over the last few decades, has really grown. And aptitude of the students has also improved, I would say.
Yes.
And now we even have some students learning from gurus in India and even performing in India in the season. And what are your thoughts on this development?
I'm really very happy about that, because it has really grown in magnitude, in numbers, not only just in numbers, but in terms of the real interest, learning to know this music and to be able to perform well. And well, if I may say, I think the Toronto Iyer brothers, Rohin and Ashwin, and Rohin Ayers, and they are good examples of who had been brought up here and who had had their education here, but at the same time, developed a very keen interest in Carnatic music and had gone to India many times to study under great masters like Sri S.R. Janakiraman, Sri T.K. Govindarao, and others. And I'm so delighted to see.
That's very, very kind of you to say.
And I think, you were also, good examples to show, for the generation of your age, what can be done. I think that's really, really important. And at the same time, we should be really thankful to our masters who come here on a regular basis, or even whenever they come to concerts, they find time to teach.
That's right.
And, and this is really wonderful, I know the list is big, the number of artists who have been visiting here. And then on top, I think now we have the Skype teaching.
Oh yes, it's all high tech.
That's good, high tech. And I think it's important that the youngsters who learn this music go to India during the December season and and perform there. And not only performance, but also listening to other concerts.
Yes.
I think that's a rewarding experience.
Yes.
Because even here, you don't get that kind of experience
No, you don't.
of listening to so many artists. And so, as we said, the Kelvi Gyanam is so important.
Yes.
When you reach that level and you really know, this is great, this particular Sangeetha, this raga, beautiful, and he rendered the Alapana excellent,
Right.
but the Pallavi is so great here, but the Tanyavatam is so wonderful.
Yes, yes.
So you really learn to appreciate that. And, totally it's a different atmosphere, as you know. December season is an excellent time.
There's a vibe in the air of
Exactly.
music
Yeah.
all the time. That's
I think
right.
so.
Yeah.
I think for musicians of all time, for musicians of all ages.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for that and for your kind comments about
Sure, no problem.
myself and my brother Ashwin. The last question I have, sir, is you've undoubtedly had the support of family and friends through your musical journey, and that includes your wife Lalita auntie and your children who are also acclaimed musicians in their own right, such as Srimati Sankaran, and your own fellow musicians and close friends, I'm sure, have helped you, along the way and brought you to this stage of your career, which is probably I would say the pinnacle of your career now. Is there anyone in particular you would like to acknowledge before we conclude this interview, and who's helped you along the way?
I think as we talked about my parents and my first guru, Shri Venkataraman, and then the legendary Master Parani sir, and one of his disciples, Ramanathapuram Kandaswami Pillai, also was very fond of me and affectionate, and he will come to every the concert of mine. In fact, he has played a kanjira for many of my concerts. During my young age, and we had a very, very cordial relationship, and I can't think of anybody else. Well, instead of saying helpful in the career, but what I would say is what I would like to say maybe that I have come across different sorts of people. For example, I had enjoyed the company of Shri T. Vishwanathan, a great artist who is no more with us, and he represents a unique tradition coming from the Nammal family. And his brother T. Ranganathan also studied under my guru.
Oh, I see.
So this way, this is what I'm saying. It's a sharing tradition.
That's right.
The tradition is being shared, and I think if I know more about some of the features in dance music, Bharatanatyam, I think it's because of Mr. Ranganathan and Vishwanathan during our conversations and things like that.
Okay.
And for example, not only that, I teach other compositions, say Varnam, Kritis and things like that. But I have always enjoyed Jatiswarams.
Oh, okay.
In fact, in one of my recordings with Shubha, Catch 21, that's the name of the recording. The very first piece is Jatiswaram in Hemavati Raga in Tishra Triputara.
Oh, I see, okay.
And then ending with the Tirmanam, we both recite in Solukat.
Oh, wonderful. I'll be sure to listen to it.
So these are things, see, I take good things wherever they are, no matter. See, I may not be a dance drummer. I'm strictly a concert drummer, okay? But there are so many good things in each tradition.
That's right.
And I think I would like to just conclude saying that this is a great art, great tradition. It has evolved over centuries, and all our dance masters, Natuvanars, Mridangam Vidwans, Kanjira Vidwans, of course vocalists, everybody have shared their tradition. And if a Carnatic music is at its height now, the way it is, it's all because of the contribution from all of these people.